All right. Now, I thought I would do a little live. Now, I was working at my property and I tore up a piece of floor. I tore up a floorboard to replace it in the house. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, so I actually stepped in the hole and went right through the floor. I bruised my tailbone and my butt area, so it's hard for me to sit down. So I called in at the job I've been working at. So here I am. I just want to give my opinion. Okay, Ron DeSantis in Florida is signing a new law that's supposed to go into effect in Florida. Most of the time about a lot of things, I do agree with the liberal states. New York and California are right when it comes to certain things. And curbing homelessness is a good thing and everything like that. But, in the words of this guy who was speaking, he's someone who works in the administration of Ron DeSantis. Now, I disagree with Ron DeSantis's ideas and laws when it comes to transgender people and stuff like that. But when it comes to this kind of thing, I do agree with Ron DeSantis. He's signing a bill to crack down on squatters in Florida. Now, people who own property, people who own houses and things in Florida, New York and California and the liberal states have begun to pass laws. They've passed laws making it hey, Tasha, how's it going? Yeah. Anyway, now I don't agree with everyone, friends and family. The fact is that people who own private properties, they own private properties. Now, I don't agree with him about transgender and stuff like that. I think they're overreaching when it comes to the beliefs about transgender, Ron DeSantis and the conservatives, because they're really overreaching and going too far trying to do these bans on drag shows and stuff like that. The doctors have already advised the government transgender, when you transition legally, you transition medically to a transsexual, to the opposite sex, you're becoming a woman or whatever you're doing, because just like in 1976 when Renee Richards sued for the right to play in the U.S. Open, play against women, she was a sex change. She had a sex change. Renee Richards had, and she was a woman. And for the past so many years, it's been codified, been legal with the law. When someone gets a sex change, they change their identification. They're the new sex that they're going to be, and they had strict laws about who could get a sex change and who couldn't. That if you're unable to be like a woman, they wouldn't do it for you. But basically, I think they're overreaching, in these conservative states when it comes to gender and stuff like that. But however, I do agree with Ron DeSantis when it comes to this law. In the words of this man here, private property and the rights over private property and private property ownership is one of the most important laws we have in the United States of America. Private property is very important in the United States, and the Constitution is pretty specific about private property. It says you shall be securing your person against all unwanted searches and seizures of property, with your private property. That's why we have the right to bear arms. That's why we have the right to have guns to protect our homes and stuff like that. And a squatter is a thief. That's what a squatter is. You go into someone else's property, you live there, and you plan on staying there so you can claim it as your own property. People that do that are thieves, And when these people are doing this, and like Governor Ron DeSantis said, there are people in New York. There was a woman who found a squatter in her home, and she got arrested. They arrested the homeowner instead of the squatter. And it comes a legal, drawn-out process to get squatters off your property. A legal, drawn out process. I mean, if you go to someone's property, you go to someone's property to stay on someone's property, to squat on their property. I mean, you don't have any legal right to be there on the property. And I'm just saying, I agree with Ron DeSantis squatting, cracking down on squatters. Because people who squat, homeless people need homes and places to live, and I do believe in the rights of people to have homeless camps and to live in their RVs and to stuff like that. But you can't just go into someone's house and live in it and say you and have the law to protect your right to be there. I mean, if someone lets you stay there, fine. If the owner lets you stay there, but I think that it's whether you're owning a property or not. If I owned a property, you know, or I wouldn't want someone to be able to do me like that to my property. I would have the right to run them off my property. I know that housing is a human right. I know, Tasha. I agree about that. I know, Tasha. I know that housing is a human right. I know it is. I know housing is a human right. You're right. I know housing is a human right as a person. And we need, to be able to have ways to have, housing to get people off the streets, and stuff like that. Ugh. There's a lot of veterans too, Tasha. There's a lot of veterans too that are homeless. Homeless veterans, There's a lot of homeless veterans that need a place to stay, and that's kind of a disgrace too, because they fought for their country. You know what I mean? They fought for their country. They should have a place to live. No veterans should be homeless. So that's for sure. Or former, public service workers or whatever like that. But so anyway, I just thought it would come on. I was out on the property working, and I pulled up some subflooring. I pulled out some subfloor, and then I wasn't paying attention to what I'm doing. And when I pulled up a piece of subfloor, I left a hole there. I stepped right in that hole. I went right down in that hole, right down into the crawl space, right down in the crawl space, and my butt landed on one of the subfloor, the right to have housing. Scuffed reality, you're right, scuffed reality. I don't know if she is or not. She'll be there. If she does go there, she'll be there to stay short term, just like a visit, But I can't put someone up on the property long term. I can't put someone up on the property long term. I just have them there for. Yeah, it's up to you, Tasha. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. But yeah, I stepped in that hole and my butt landed on the or scraped, landed on or scraped against my butt banged against a piece of subflooring when I went down. Yeah, the honky tonk angel. We got to protect her. You're right. I'm going to help her to get an appointment with the hormone doctor, whatever like that, so she can get her hormones. Yeah, I agree that everyone has certain fundamental rights, as a person. And they need to draw a line somewhere. There are lots of, going back and forth about the rights of gender people in America. They need to codify and nail down what the legal or um, they need to set boundaries, legal boundaries. They need to set legal boundaries at the federal level. What is your right as a person, as a transgender person? What are the rights you have as a person over your gender identity, over your gender presentation, your gender identity, your gender as a person, your presentation, the role you play in society, and what you're allowed to do? as a person? You know, what are your legal rights to your gender? Because it seems like a lot of places they want to pass laws to force people to play a certain role, to play a to revert to their birth gender in some ways, to force a person, I guess, somehow to detransition and to force someone who's, male to live as a male, you know? Forcing males to live as males, forcing females to live as females. Okay, biologically you're a male, but as a person, you have the right over your body. You have the right over your body to do what you want to your body. You have the right to express your opinions of your gender and what it symbolizes. Maybe you know that you're a male, but maybe you can say there's a difference between sex and gender. Maybe there's a difference between your birth sex and your lived sex, your lived gender. There's a difference between your birth gender and your lived gender. The gender of your presentation. There's a difference between the gender you physically are, that you're born as, and the gender you present yourself as. And that has to do, a lot of gender is social. I'm a sovereign being under the sole justification of my own mind. Yeah, that's good, Tasha. I'm glad. I support you. I'm there for you, Tasha. I support you. So, but what I'm saying, we need the rights and to boundaries to be laid down that determine what are the legal rights of a person over their sexuality as a person, whether it's gender identity, gender presentation, who you love, your sexuality, your preference, or whatever like that. The rights over a person's sexuality, basically sexual freedom, just like women, gender stereotyping, sex stereotyping. I think that's, the laws, I guess sex discrimination. I guess sex discrimination, sex stereotyping is connected to sex discrimination. Preamble. Yeah, all men are created. Yeah, I know what you mean there for sure. But sex stereotyping is part of sex discrimination. And the Civil Rights Act of 1964 determines um, sexual freedoms as the freedom over your person as a person, and sex stereotyping is part of sex discrimination. I can't hire a man to be a nurse because nurses are for women. I can hire a woman to work on the construction crew because she's a woman, and you're determining what a woman can do and what a woman can be, just like if you tell a man he can't dress like a woman, or you can't, determine that a man can't be feminine because he's a man. That's like telling him he can't be what kind of person he wants to be. A person has a right to be the kind of person they want to be. And to have these strict rules over what a person can do is to, and if a person wants to keep their sex a secret, if they don't want to tell people they're a man, then they have the right to keep that. As humans, we made it alike. God created us all equal. That's true, Scuff Reality. I agree with you, Scuff Reality. I agree with both of you on that one. But, you know, it's the freedom of a person. If they want to conceal their gender from the public, I believe they have the right to conceal their gender from the public, because a person has a right over their body. It's my body, my freedom. We all have sovereign rights over our bodies and how we modify our bodies and what we do and the role we play and the kind of person we want to be is very important as a person. Private property is important, but basically freedom over your your personal beliefs as a person is important. Your opinions, First Amendment rights of free speech, freedom to have your opinions, believe what you want to, have your opinion, even if you believe in communism. Thank you, uh, Scuff Reality. Thanks. So it's the fact is, Scuff Reality, you can subscribe if you want to. Lots of great content on here on the channel. So we just wanted to say that, that that personal rights, personal freedom over our bodies determine what kind of person we want to be, what kind of person we want to be, how we want to live. Yay. That's right. So, anyway, determine the kind of person we want to be. That's part of human rights as a person. We all have a right to determine the kind of person we want to be. We don't have to let people in society, in school growing up, that's, growing up in school, you know, we let our peers put peer pressure on us, telling us we have to fit in. You have to fit in. You can't wear pink shoelaces or you'll get beat up. Sometimes being transgender, the decision to be transgender, yeah, the fact is, deciding, experimenting with that kind of stuff really opened my eyes to my personal freedom as a person and the right to rebel against the mainstream opinion. Being young, I was such a prisoner. Before I hit 21, before I hit 20 or 21 years old, before I hit 21 years old, I was such a prisoner to the opinions of society and people. I was such a prisoner, you know. Yeah, so, I was such a prisoner. I felt like I had to do what everybody else did and be what my peers expected me to be. That for me to earn my right to fit in with my peers, that was important. It made me successful in life. But experimenting with the transgender gave me a different point of view. I started thinking about hippies. Yeah, that's true. So anyway, yeah, whose child we want to become, God or the devil, but also just focusing on our legal rights as a person. We have the right to choose, we have the right to decide what we need to do to be the person we want to be. And it's important that we focus on the freedom that we have to make a choice to be the kind of person we want to be is more in the sexual revolution of the 60s. So we just we're becoming the persons that we want to be because we have the right to choose the kind of person we want to be. We have the right to choose how we're going to express ourselves and to live our lives. Being transgender, it's true that now that civil right doesn't give us the guaranteed right. If I'm a transsexual, that civil right, if that's the civil rights of 1964, our civil rights, constitutional civil rights as a person, the constitutional civil rights to our own personhood and to our own sexuality in the civil rights movement doesn't guarantee a transsexual the right to use a female dressing room with women in there. It doesn't guarantee me the right to play sports and play against women. If I'm not qualified to play against women in sports, I don't have the biology that they have to be a fair competition for a female in sports because maybe that's just the biological truth on that. But as far as my personal freedom, my personal freedom over myself is my right to express myself and be the kind of person I want to be. Because as a constitutional person, we have the right to free speech. We have the right to be secure in our person, not just the secure in our property, but to be secure in our person with our to be who we want to be. To have an operation. If I want to have fangs put in my mouth, if I want to look like a woman and modify my body, live as a female, dress as a female, and just decide I'm swearing off from masculinity. I'm swearing off from the male gender and the male life. I want to dress and live like a woman. That's my right to do that because gender is social. Gender is a social thing. It's a social thing. It's not just having blue eyes or being HIV positive or, you know, even race is social. Musical gender and race have a lot to do with musical styles, clothing, uh, catchphrases, and the way we express ourselves. Gender being made to, yes, co-ed softball is a good thing, but the point is that you know forcing a person to live according to the birth sex and taking that right away is to restrict them to certain ways of living. The female music, the female hobbies, the female socialization, the right to date a man instead of a woman, to date the different sex of a person. Yeah, that's true. That's reality. The fact is that forcing a person to live according to a certain gender role is restricted. It's restricted. They don't have the freedom. Yeah, so it's just that I guess gender is social. It's like race. Telling a white person they have to act like a white person. Telling a black person they have to act like a black person. Telling a white person they have to date a white person and not date a black person or a Latino, a Mexican. People have those choices, People need those choices. People have the choices and the right to make those choices. And so that's what I think. It's the rights over a person's personhood. Our personhood's important as a human being. Yeah, even David fell a few times. Uh, Skiff reality, David did fall a few times. So that's just my synopsis, my summary in my mind of kind of you know how gender and race, ethnic background, how those people, how those boundaries affect us. You know, and we have the freedom, the right as people. That's possible, Tasha. That's possible. It's just the fact that these boundaries of gender and race and ethnic background, we don't have to let those things put chains on us and make prisoners of us. We have the right to make the choices for ourselves as to the kind of person we want to be as an American. We have the right to be the kind of person we want to be as an American, you know, and not let our gender or sex or race or ethnic background put a chain on us or put us in a box and tell us the kind of person we can be, or tell us that we have to live up to certain expectations. We don't need to be forced to live up to certain expectations because of our sex, the sex we were given at birth. Just because we're given a certain sex at birth doesn't mean that we should be put in chains to that and that we should have to live up to certain expectations. That a man should be strong or that a woman should be nurturing or any of these things. We don't have to live up to these expectations that are placed on us based upon our birth sex. We don't have to have these things put on us. We can be freed from that. We can have the freedom to be the persons we want to become. Exactly. Exactly. So anyway, that's just the freedom from boundaries and things like that. Someone else's right to live the way they want to and have those opinions. But as a person, I have the right to be freed. I have the right to make a choice. I don't just have to stay within the guidelines of masculinity and traditional manhood. I don't have to do those things. I don't have to act like a man. Well, if you hire women to work in the government or whatever as a lawyer or a lawyer or a senator and force them to wear skirts and dress like women, you're forcing them to be a person they don't want to be. You're forcing someone to be something that they don't want to be. You're forcing someone to be something they don't want to be. It's not that they're not a woman. Just like if you're thinking of, yeah, I'm in the original camper, Tasha, in my camper. I got rid of the other camper, that new camper I had. So this is my one that Elvis Travels was in this camper, you know. See, this is the original. Original camper, yeah. Yeah, I'm in the original camper here. The little one. So I got a microwave. See it? There was a microwave oven. But that's just the point of it is the you know, people need the right to express themselves, and sex stereotyping with the way someone dresses. I mean, hey, a travel trailer, Tasha, that's a great idea. If you ever need any, you could rebuild it yourself and or just customize it. You can take a brand new one. I mean, you can take a brand new travel trailer and make it customizable. You can customize a brand new travel trailer, and you don't have to worry about uh, traditional campers leaking because you seal the roof with Dicor around all the seams. You seal all the seams with Dicor the way it's supposed to religiously. You do that, and you seal the corner seams on the windows, around the windows, and with sealant, that you're supposed to use the right kind of sealant. You use the right kind of sealants on your seams of your camper and around the edges of the roof and around your roof vents and along the sides of it. You'll never have problems for leaking. I think you'll have more room, Tasha. I think you will. You'll have a bathroom. You'll have a bathroom to use the bathroom. You'll have a bathroom and everything. You'll have what you need to take a shower in your RV and, give yourself some, uh, self love and stuff. Yeah, self love and stuff like that. Be able to manicure yourself and have more room for your dog and yourself. So, you'll have room to be in your personal space. And making laws against people living in RVs, I don't agree with that because I believe An RV. I don't believe in the law having the ability to stop people from living in something that they owned. Yeah, it is your human right, Tasha, that you need that. You need the travel trailer for sure. You need the space, you know. I think it'll feel more like sticks and bricks type of a house, I do. You'll have room in there. So, I mean, I don't believe in laws tell people they're not allowed to live in RVs. You need permission to stay in something like that. I don't believe in putting, I mean, that's the hypocrisy of states like California. That's the screwed up thing about California and places like that. I mean, a person owns a travel trailer, the law can tell you that you're not allowed to live in it. When you're the owner, the rightful owner of the travel trailer, and they can tell you you're not allowed to live in it, or a motorhome. You're the rightful owner of a motorhome, and the state, California cities, can tell you you're not allowed to live in your motorhome. But then they'll let a squatter live in a property that's not theirs, and they'll stop a person from living in their own camper. I think if you own a camper, you own a bus, van, you have the right to live in it if you want to because it's the rights over private property that a person has. It's the private property of the person who owns it. They have the right to live in their RV if they want to live in it because it's private property. And telling someone it's illegal for them to live in it, I don't agree. If a person, sure, an RV may be built to be a temporary dwelling, but a person wants to make it a permanent dwelling, they have the right to do that because it's their private property. They own it. It's their property, the private property, and they own it as private property. And that's important, that it's their private property. Doesn't matter if it's designed to be lived in or not. It's their private property. And I think as an American, they have the right to live in it because it's their private property. No tyrannical law should be able to tell them they're not allowed to live in it. That's just what I believe in because they own it, because that's the issue is the ownership of it. And so that's that, that's that. That's my opinion. It's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. So that's just my opinion about the whole thing. Yeah. It's just because people disagree. It doesn't mean they have to disagree and be angry, if they disagree about this or that or anything else. People could be good friends, and maybe disagree about this, disagree about that, disagree about politics. We just have people have different opinions about stuff and disagree. And I think good friends, if people are good friends, they should admit that they disagree, but they can agree to disagree as friends or family or whatever else. We can agree to disagree. We don't have to agree about everything. We can disagree about it. We can disagree about this and that as people. That's the only way to me to have a good friendship or a family relationship is to be free to disagree. Agree to disagree and all that good stuff. That's life. That's the best way to do it. Have a good life. So, hey, Ronnie, good to see you. Yeah, good to see Ronnie in here. Ronnie, how you doing? Good to see you. So I'm gonna try to check out your videos, Ronnie, and see if you got any more videos, any new videos or anything, updates or whatever like that. I've been working in this place for people that have had accidents, head injuries, and accidents. There's a couple of people, and it's a rehabilitation center. They call it rehabilitation, but these people have head injuries, and it's a head injury place. Some of them have mental deficiencies because of their accidents. Some of them have to be supervised. It's going okay so far. You have a lot of downtime, but when you give them their medicines, you really have to pay attention to what you're doing when you give them their medicines. If you make a mistake giving them their medication, you could get in trouble. Some of these people are mentally deficient because of their accidents. It's messed them up. So, but, there's a couple of guys that tried to commit suicide and they lived through it. They shot themselves in the head and they lived through it. There's another man that got shot by someone else. So, 3 men that have been shot in the head that are in the unit that I'm in. But the unit has several people and they go to a day center to hang out during the day for therapy or whatever. And at the end of the day, they go home and go back to the houses. And there's like 3 or 4 people in a house, and there's like 9 houses. 3 or 4 people in a house, 9 houses. They got 2 more houses that they're being repaired and worked on, but they're just not finished being repaired yet. So, these different accidents, car accidents, shootings, whatever it is, that injure these people's brains, there's one guy that's blind that shot himself in the head, tried to kill himself, and he is blind. But that's what it is, the people are pretty risky people, some of them were, that guys are pretty risky, doing some risky stuff, and they injured themselves. Yeah, they do, Tasha. I wish you could get your house back, if I can find another house, I saw your house in those old videos, I saw your old videos. I left a couple of them in your house. Your house was a nice house, I liked it. I think it was attractive. A modern architecture design, of a ranch style, Florida ranch style house with a swimming pool. Nice, cement pond. Yeah, so that's it's a nice looking place. It's just to take the place, and personally, I think RVs as housing is a great idea. Oh, that's good, Tasha. That's great. Well, hopefully you can get into a travel trailer, Get into a travel trailer. Pull it with your van or get a SUV. I tell you, if you got a travel trailer, SUVs are good. You got the power of a pickup truck, but it's been treated awful, a lot better than a pickup truck has been treated. Trucks are treated pretty rough, being for work and stuff like that. But you have a car, you have a truck, you have a pull it with the car. Oh, okay. What car? You gonna pull it with the Volkswagen? But SUVs are good to pull stuff. If you got a Chevy Tahoe, that's based on a full size. Oh, that sounds good. But if you have a Tahoe, you can get a good size, pretty big travel trailer if you pull it with a Tahoe. One travel trailer. It uses gas, but Chevy Tahoes are pretty good, to pull a travel trailers with. The Trailblazer, I enjoy my Trailblazer, but it didn't have as much power. I pulled a small travel trailer with it, but it doesn't have as much power. It's not really a full-sized SUV. I mean, the full size is more rugged, more durable, because it's built for commercial grade use. The full size pickup truck is. I mean, there's a substantial amount of durability difference, between the Trailblazer and the full-size Tahoe. The full-size Tahoe is built on a full-size pickup truck platform. It's bigger. You can even get a 2500 Tahoe or Suburban, And you can get them cheap too. You can get Tahoes and Suburbans cheap. Throw your generator in the back of that Tahoe, or a gear. Oh, okay, yeah, Trailblazer. Yeah, it was pretty good, but the transmission went out of my Trailblazer. I think a Chevrolet pickup truck, the Suburbans and Tahoes are pretty good. So those are pretty good. I like the design of them too, based on a full-size pickup truck platform and stuff. If I ever changed and went to a travel trailer, maybe I would get a Tahoe. So yeah, whatever you can do, as long as the Volkswagen can pull the travel trailer, you know. Well, those little tab travel trailers, those really small travel trailers, I guess you could pull it with a Volkswagen, but it would be probably one of those little ones. Oh, under 20 foot. Okay, that sounds good. Some of these travel trailers, even under 20 feet, can be heavy. Some of those can be like 3 or 4 thousand pounds. Even some of the smaller ones could be 3 or 4 thousand pounds. I don't know if a car could pull that much weight, but if you got a tab, one of these little tab trailers or little fiberglass trailers like a casita. Hey, that sounds nice. 3,000 pounds? That ain't bad. That ain't too heavy, Josh. I guess that's not bad. But those scamps and casitas, some people like those scamps and trailers. Well, I think a wood frame camper is fine. People say they leak and stuff like that. Wood frame campers leak. And they do leak if you don't seal them. But even a new camper, I mean, you have to seal the roof seams, the corners. You have to seal the around the tops of the windows. You know, anything in the sides of the camper windows or compartment doors, you have to seal around that. You have to seal the edges of the roof and the roof vents and stuff like that with the Dicor and lap sealant. You have to go over everything, even if it's a new camper, even if it's brand new. Oh, good, Tasha. That's awesome then. Well, that's great. The Volkswagens are nice little cars. I like Volkswagens. They're good cars, I think. My dad, whenever I think of a Volkswagen, I always think of my dad because he always liked the Volkswagen Bug. He always had Volkswagen Bugs when I was a kid. But yeah, it's the way it was. But a Jetta, is your car a Jetta, Tasha, or what is it? What kind of Volkswagen do you have? Is it a Volkswagen Jetta? But yeah, and that's a great option. Even a small travel trailer. Oh, okay, go for Volkswagen Golf. That sounds good. Yeah, so that's really an easy way to do it. I think even a small travel trailer would give you more room than you've got to stand up and to use the bathroom, take a shower, groom yourself, do your grooming and, cooking and grooming and stuff like that. You'll have more room to be able to stand up and to groom yourself and take a short, bath, shower, whatever, like the shower and stuff like that, bathroom, the basic stuff, and more storage to put some stuff and have a place, to sit and play video games or whatever. Yeah, that's true. You can take exactly. You don't have to break camp every time you need to go somewhere. You don't have to break camp. I think travel trailers are a good thing. I mean, I could if I had a travel trailer, I could um get rid of my truck camper and get a travel trailer. And that way, you can get a better pickup truck when you get a half ton, you know. You can get a better pickup truck when you have a half ton. I mean, 3/4 tons used to work. It's harder to find a cheap 3/4 ton. It's hard to find a cheap 3/4 ton that's in good condition. You know, you have a half ton in good condition, you're more likely to find a good half ton in good condition. It's just easier to do. That's the only thing about a truck camper. A truck camper is just the kind of thing that the whole thing sits in the back of the truck and you don't have a lot of space. Oh, Coleman 17. R. Yeah, Coleman 17R. Okay. Yeah, 17R. That sounds good. Let's look that up. Oh, darn it. Coleman Lantern. Here's a 7R. In a Camping World, there's a Coleman Lantern 17R. That's a nice looking little trailer right there. Yeah, I like that one. 2970. That ain't bad. Let's look at the floor plan. Okay, now we got a bath in the back, a big bathroom in the back. You've got a dinette there. You've got a bed there. Kitchen there. You've got a lot of room in that. That's got a lot of room. It's a nice camper. The Coleman 17R. It's actually nice looking. I think it's a nice one. It's got room in there, and I like this. The air conditioner, what is that, a window unit? Yeah, wall-mounted AC. It's standard equipment. Hey, that's really nice. That's really nice. That's a great way to do a window air conditioner. That's a good way to add an air conditioner like that. Yeah, it's nice looking. Yeah, it's perfect. Hey, 12,000 brand new. That's nice. Maybe that's what I should have done with my money. Maybe I should have gotten something like that. I'll be right. Yeah, blank canvas. I'll be right back. Hold on. I'm back, guys. I'm here. It's not my chickens. It's the neighbor's chickens. The neighbors had chickens. Okay. I'm here, Ronnie. I'm here. So, I'll let you guys go. Tasha, maybe you can go live. I'll get out here so you can go live. Bye now.